I just played a song. I didn't play it very well, but I just played a song called Love Me Tender. This song is 164 years old. It was originally written in 1861. The music was written by George Poulton, an Englishman. The lyrics were written by William Fosdick, an American. And Poulton died when he was 38. And Fosdick died when he was 37. That's very young. The song came out in 1956, sung by Elvis Presley. And the music, of course, was still written by George Poulton, but a man named Ken Darby put new lyrics to it. And that's how we have the modern version. Now, on this sheet music here, this is actually the original sheet music. This piece of paper that came out in 1956, I have the stamp on it here. That's from the person I bought it from. This was a one-owner piece of music. And I had this sheet music when I was a child. This is the first piece of sheet music my mom bought for me when I was a child learning to play the accordion. So that's kind of weird. But anyway, they say that the words and music were written by Elvis Presley and Vera Matson, but that's actually false. That's fake news. They did not write this. So that's the true story, Love Me Tender. It's a very, very old song. It's 164 years old. It was written at the beginning of the Civil War. So I changed the chords just a wee little bit. This is the original, but I just changed them a little bit to try to sweeten it up a little bit. And here's the set of chords that I use. You can pause or print screen, but that's the chords I use. And I'll explain these shortly. It's a very simple song. And you might ask, well, why do you even bother posting this? Because I don't get many views on my accordion videos. I don't know why. But I make yet another video because I'm the only guy that I know on the internet that teaches the 5-finger thing. And I'm probably the only guy in the world that plays using all 5 fingers of the left hand for the 120 bass button Stradella accordion. Okay, so it's important to me to one more time tell you that you can use all 5 fingers of the left hand when you play the accordion. Most people don't want to. I don't know why. But I'm going to talk about some of these chords and then pretty soon, really soon, stop making accordion videos because obviously not enough people seem to care. If you use all 5 fingers of the left hand when playing the 120 bass button Stradella bass machine, there's usually 2 or 3 ways to play a dominant 7th chord. So in Love Me Tender, there are 4 dominant 7th chords that stand out to me, and I'm going to feature those today. For example, the E dominant 7, here's 3 ways to play it, 3 ways to play the A dominant 7, etc. We'll go over that shortly. And then there's 2 ways to play a minor 7th chord on the 120 bass. We'll talk about that too. So let's look at the minor 7 chord first. In this song, I use an E minor 7, and you can get that chord by using your G major chord button and your E counter bass or your E bass, either these 2 or these 2. For your A minor 7, you have your C major chord button and your A bass or your A counter bass. You can use this combination or this combination. I'll show you that shortly also. So those are the minor 7s. They're kind of easy. Now for the dominant 7, since I use all 5 fingers, all right, let's look at your bass buttons. And here's your B dominant 7. Now you can get this 2 different ways. You can use your F sharp diminished chord button with a B bass or with a B counterbass. In other words, this combination or this combination. Okay, that's how you get your B dominant 7. And you do that my way so your hand doesn't have to fly all around the bass machine. It can stay right here in one spot, one easy spot. Now, in this song, there are the other dominant 7ths. I just showed you the B dominant 7. Okay, to get that, you play your B counterbass or your B bass with your F sharp diminished button. All right, here to get your E dominant 7, you play your E counterbass or your E bass with a B diminished button. And for your A dominant 7, you can play your counterbass with your E diminished chord button or with your A bass button. All right. And then for the D dominant 7, I hope I'm speaking correctly, you can use the D counterbass with the A diminished chord button or use the D bass button with the A diminished chord button. So here you have your dominant 7s lined up, and you'll catch that with your fingers of your left hand. Okay, I'll show you that on the accordion. But there are your key dominant 7 chords that I use in this very simple song. Okay, let's first look at the E minor 7. And when I show you the fingering for this, you'll know automatically how to do this chord here because it's all the same fingering. So let's look at the E minor 7 chord, and we'll use these buttons here, all right? So I use the E counterbass and the G major chord button. Or I use the E bass button with the G major chord button. It's the same thing, the same sound. It's just two different ways to get the same chord. Then to slide down one, you just slide down to the A counterbass and the C major chord button. And there's your A minor 7. Then the E, you just slide up E minor 7. And then you can do all kinds of stuff. It's all the minor 7s are formed the same way. All right? Now, for the dominant 7 chords, all right, on paper, it looks like it's a huge stretch. It just looks like it's insurmountable. But actually, in reality, it's very easy and natural. Now, watch this. In the song, Love Me Tender, you move from a G major to a B dominant 7, okay? Now, if you play the regular way, you'd have to go from G, slide all the way down to the B dominant 7. All that sliding. And you could hit the wrong buttons if you do that. If you're not a professional, okay? See, that's crappy. That's just a bunch of crap. So I do it like this. G, catch the B counterbass with your pinky. And the F sharp diminished button. See that? G major. And my pinky's right there. It goes to the B counterbass. And the thumb hits the F sharp diminished button. See that? That's how the song goes. All right, so you see that on paper the stretch looks far and wide here, but in reality it's simple. Even simpler is the B bass button with the F sharp diminished chord button because it's right down here together. So here's your B bass button, and your F sharp diminished is right here. Look at that. Now, if you play the B dominant 7 in the regular traditional position, see like that? The 5th tone is missing. The interval at a 5th is missing. If you play the B bass button with the F sharp diminished chord button, all 4 tones of the dominant 7th chord are in there. It's richer. It's better. See that E dominant 7? So that's about it. I likely won't make many more accordion 5-finger videos because it's pointless. I've shown time after time after time how to do it, and I get almost no feedback. Nobody seems to care, so I'm probably going to put an end to it and move on to my esoteric videos, and people probably won't watch that either. So anyway, thanks for watching over the years, and sometime if you get really bored or you're on some kind of weird drug, try using all 5 fingers. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank Mr. Roberts for passing it on to me. Because in the whole world of 8 billion people, I seem to be the only one. Good night.